Do you like the mirror, Lucius? The hoarse whisper of Fulgrim next to my ear suggests that he too wants you to, Captain. Enjoy this moment with my sucking in a fervent breath before Fulgrim spins me around. His erection.
Alright, let's paint Lucius the Eternal. Welcome, my name is Hubert, and today we paint Lucius the Eternal. But before we get started, I wanted to wish you the best for this new year, and I hope your Christmas loot was good. And speaking of Christmas, I actually painted Lucius as a gift for my brother. Lucius is what I call a hard model. There are lots of ways to screw him up, so I'll do my best, and we'll see what we learn from it. On the menu today, we are tackling Lucius in a slightly grimdark style. We'll start with the base, which I'm setting in a frozen biome. For this, I want to try something new. Ice cracks with plastic sheets, snow texture, and frost effect. Never done this before, so I'm really excited to see the end result. Let's now identify the main parts of this model, the parts that will require most of my attention. When I first took a look at the new Lucius model, I immediately imagined how I would paint him, with, of course, what I'm capable of, and what I want to learn and improve. So you have the armor plates from the Armor of Shrieking Souls, the blade of the layer, the base, and the stim pack rack. I have a rough idea of the result I want for each part, but you'll see not everything will go as planned. So sit back, relax, because even though this is just one model, there's a lot of painting ahead. Once primed black, I start with a few thin layers of magenta on the power armor and a light flesh tone on all the exposed skin, his own and the skin he's wearing. I'm using fairly strong colors here because I plan to mute them later with acrylic and enamel washes. This will take a bit of time, so let's talk lore. In my recent videos, whenever I paint a new model, I talk about the painting stuff and also a bit about the lore. Gives me context. I am not a lore expert, of course, but I don't want to use AI, but more importantly, I don't want to spoil myself as I'm still reading through the Horus Heresy, and I don't want to start segmenting my videos for spoiler-free parts. So I'll just keep doing it my own way, just as it comes, by looking up some lore about what I'm painting and sharing with you what I learned. But this guy is different. This is such a piece of shit that we have to talk about him.
Lucius was the captain of the 13th Company of the 3rd Legion, the Emperor's Children. His skill with the blade quickly became legendary among the Legion.
This guy is proud, so much so that everything about him revolves around pride. Before certain events, he only lost one duel against Loken with a punch that broke his nose. Now, this is where I don't want to spoil things, but to make it short, he's a traitor. But not like what you're used to see in the Horus Heresy. At some point, he managed to single-handedly kill 30 of his brothers just to prove a point, and out of pride. I'll say no more, so let's talk about his gear, because it's part of his personality.
Lucius is armed with the Lash of Torment, a demon-infested whip, as well as the ornate sword known as the Blade of the Lair.
Oh, the Blade of the Lair. This artifact is responsible of one of the saddest moments I can remember during my early reading through the Horus Heresy. This blade was picked up by Fulgrim Then something dramatic happened on Isvan 5, and finally the blade was passed down to Lucius. This artifact is not human-made, so I'll try to give it a special touch later.
His power armor, the armor of shrieking souls, said to be powered by the thousands of souls trapped in it.
If I understand correctly, Lucius is called the Eternal because of his curse. Whenever Lucius is killed, if the killer expresses the tiniest amount of satisfaction or pride or pleasure, Lucius later gets reincarnated through his killer's body, trapping his screaming face on the armor. And that's what you see on his torso and shoulder plates. Horrible. I've heard it also works if he gets killed by a bullet. Well, if the maker of the bullet expressed anything while crafting the ammunition, then he's fucked. And there lies his curse. As he is resurrected through his killer, I'll quote, his deaths represent a foe that bested him in battle, and is now forever denied a chance to challenge them again. And last item that will require my attention is the stim rack on his backpack. At the start of the Horus Heresy, the Emperor's children started to, let's say, they started having fun on their ships and on the battlefield. And one of the things they were literally encouraged to do is drugs. Lots of drugs. The stuff he carries is said to be designed by the Dark Eldar and can deliver on demand doses of various stimulants during battle. So yeah, there is a lot of character in this model's design, so let's get going.
As this cycle turns, may your workflows be optimized and your paint ratios remain pure. On behalf of the machine god, I wish you a productive and well-calibrated year ahead. If these teachings have served you well, subscribe to Hubus's data feed. Your support has been logged. Praise the All-Messiah.
I feel that this will serve as a good base for all the important parts to come. The tormented souls are the first point we need to talk about. What you're about to see is, how do I put this, another complexification of something that could have been much faster and easier to do. I wanted the faces to look ghostly, ethereal, so I mixed Itematic Blue and Tesseract Glow over Warpstone Glow. These are some of the few contrast paints I own, and the result looked like garbage, but I managed to transform this mess into something I really like. Want to know my secret? Agrax Earthshade and Nuln Oil. Liters of Nuln Oil. Multiple layers of it, while keeping the faces clear each time. And I think it worked. I hope you'll get to see it as I do. My mess created some sort of texture, almost like the faces were trapped under a very thin fabric. Has this ever happened to you? You double down on a mistake, but in the end, it works? Well, tell me what you think in the comments. At this time of the project, we are only 2 days before Christmas, and I need to hurry up. So before going to bed, I prepare the bases that will require some drying time. This is my first go at a frozen biome for a base, and I'm happy with the results, but there are things I'll change if I have to paint more in the future. Maybe you'll be able to help. I want Lucius to be on some sort of frozen rock in the middle of a frozen lake, with a strong, almost white to black gradient towards the edges of the base. I used this picture as a reference, and maybe I got afraid to really go black to white. That's why I used some light blue here. All this preparation I wanted to serve as a canvas for something I randomly encountered on YouTube, Vallejo Frost. This is an acrylic effect that's supposed to dry like real frost. Well, let's try it. Well, I've waited enough and it's supposed to dry in less than 30 minutes, so f that and I'll see you tomorrow. But in the morning I got a little surprise. It worked! Well, it's far from perfect, but it worked. The goal was to have the frost effect go really strong on the flat surfaces, but I think they were either too small or maybe I went too heavy on the stuff. We will have to try this again at some point. I intend to use this effect on my Chaos Knight bases. Picture a swamp overflowing a cemetery with spider webs, dead water puddles with putrid bubbles, and some frost and snow here and there. While writing these lines, I just finished shopping for my next army, and I can't wait to share this with you. Alright, for the stim vials now. I've seen this done many times in a few different ways, and as I've never done this before, I went with simplicity. The goal is to create a gradient, and for this, I'll start with pure white, diluted to almost a glaze, and I'll push the paint towards the bottom. It was more effective when I pictured it in my head, but it will do. I'd love to be able to come back in time and force myself to also do the white lines that will define the surface of the liquid, but I guess it's too late now, and you'll have to bear with me. Once the white coat is done, time to use colors with contrast paints from Citadel. I'll use a mix to give the stim pack more punch. So Tesseract Glow, Flash Terror's Red, and Itematic Blue. process is simple. Cover the vials with contrast paint, then use black in multiple thin glazes towards the top of the vials to add more contrast. And while this is going on, let's talk tabletop for a second, because that's what we paint this model for. This question is for Emperor's Children players out there. What do you think of him on the table?
Sitting at 150 points as of today, at the end of 10th edition, he's fast, and if he touches anything resembling a character or monster, he will molest it hard.
He can lead flawless blades, but I don't see the point, because he gets blown up and fight first, if played alone. Personally, I love the theme of his rule set. An assassin/brawler you can send in melee and you will get results out of him, for sure. What about you? Tell me what you think in the comments and share any tips on how to play him. My freehanding skills are not the best, and I struggled finding a good position to have a steady pose. I'll have to try new configurations in order to record and be able to focus more on my painting. Now that we're almost done with the vials, it's time to talk about the blade of the layer. I know I want to try to improve my enamel skills on this one, but this blade is weird. Well, it's a saber, and it resembles a lot a cavalry saber from the early 19th century Napoleon campaigns. What I love about this weapon is the hilt, and I really enjoy how I painted it. True metallic metal. I've already handled weapons like this in real life, and I think the sculpt is great. But it's quite uniquely shaped. I had to look up references online for where to put my highlights and reflections, and doing this actually made me more confident about this enamel paint job. Alright, let's get to it. I think I can finally call it done. To be fair, this was not supposed to be my Christmas gift for my brother, but rather his birthday gift 8 months ago. Yeah, I like to paint stuff for others. Until now, it was a good way to get content for the channel for cheap, but now that I have a real job again, this is less and less an issue. However, it's time that's becoming my issue. Alright, let's take a look at Lucius the Eternal. It's funny how the main parts I identified earlier were the ones I enjoyed painting the most. These were the ones I was anticipating. Maybe I'm starting to know myself as a painter, who knows? As always, I know my paint job is far from perfect, but everywhere I see imperfections, I see opportunities. Take the frost base, for example. I really want to try this again and improve on this. Same for the gradients on the vials. I know I can do much better with practice. Same for the blade and many other features. You get the idea. If you see things you'd think I'd be able to improve naturally, as always, feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. This reminds me, I need to thank you all for your comments in my last video. There were lots of them. And now I think I know exactly what to do from now on with the channel. Let's summarize what we learned today. Mixing random contrast paints doesn't work. Null oil and Agraxor shade can save your paint job if you are lazy. Freehanding takes a lot of experience and practice, but you don't have to be afraid to go at it. Same goes for enamel, and it's much easier when you know where to put your highlights. Alright, that's it for me today. I hope you enjoyed this one, and maybe some of you got inspired, who knows. As for me, I'll see you soon for more 40k stuff, so until next time, happy painting!